The Greek camp sprawled along the Trojan shore, shrouded in moonless darkness. The only sounds were the distant crash of waves and the occasional clink of armor, echoing through the stillness. The air was thick with tension, as if the night itself held its breath, waiting for dawn. From afar, it seemed peaceful, but inside anxiety simmered. The men tossed and turned, haunted by memories of the day's violence and the uncertainty of tomorrow. Every shadow seemed to whisper of danger, every gust of wind a reminder of their fragile fate. The day's battle had been brutal. Hector had nearly driven the Greeks into the sea. The warriors bore fresh wounds, both seen and unseen, and the taste of defeat lingered in the air. The threat of defeat loomed. It was a shadow that crept into every tent, gnawing at the resolve of even the bravest men. Agamemnon, High King, lay sleepless, haunted by the faces of the fallen and the weight of command. He could not escape the burden of leadership, nor the fear that he might fail his people. He replayed every mistake, every loss, questioning the purpose of this endless war for Helen. Was the price too high? Was glory worth so much suffering? These questions circled endlessly in his mind, offering no rest. The silence was menacing, filled with the soldiers' whispers of despair and thoughts of abandoning the siege. Rumors spread like wildfire, and hope seemed to flicker and fade with every passing hour. Agamemnon knew morale was crumbling. He saw it in the slumped shoulders of his men, in their hollow eyes and hesitant voices. Doubt, not the Trojans, was the true enemy. It crept silently, undermining courage and unity, threatening to unravel everything they had fought for. He sat up, staring into the darkness, desperate for counsel and reassurance. The silence pressed in, heavy and unyielding as he searched for answers in the shadows. The fate of the Greeks pressed down on him, heavier than his royal cloak. Every decision felt like a gamble with thousands of lives at stake. He needed to act, to find someone who shared his burden. Alone, the weight was unbearable, but perhaps together they could find a way forward. There was only one man who understood the cost as deeply as he did. His brother Menelaus, the one whose loss had started it all, and whose pain matched his own. In the darkness, Agamemnon resolved to seek him out, hoping that together they might find the strength to endure another day. Agamemnon left his tent, cloak drawn tight, the weight of leadership heavy on his shoulders. He made his way through the silent camp to Menelaus, each step echoing the gravity of their situation. The sentries watched him pass, their faces grim, understanding the peril that loomed over them all. Menelaus, king of Sparta, sat sharpening his sword, eyes burning with sleepless anger, the fire of vengeance fueling his every move. No words were needed. Their shared glance spoke volumes, a silent understanding of the burden they both carried. Menelaus broke the silence. "You cannot sleep either, brother. The Trojan cheers still echo in my ears. They think they have us." Agamemnon nodded. "Hector fought like a man possessed. If we do nothing, our ships will burn by sunrise. We need a plan." Menelaus agreed. "We must gather the wisest, Nestor, Ulysses, Diomedes. Their counsel is needed now, before despair spreads." The brothers resolved to act, not wait for doom. They knew that hesitation could mean the end of their campaign. They would rouse their council, turning fear into action, igniting a spark of hope in the hearts of their men. Together, they prepared to wake the leaders from uneasy slumber, knowing that unity was their greatest strength. The night would not be lost to worry. It would be a night of strategy and resolve. It would be a night of decisions, where the fate of the Greeks would be forged in the crucible of their determination. The fate of the Greeks would be forged before dawn, as the first light of daybreak promised a new hope. Quietly, the Greek leaders gathered in the cold night. Nestor, Ulysses, Diomedes, and others. The air was thick with tension, the only light coming from the flickering flames that cast long shadows across their anxious faces. Each man carried the weight of defeat and the fear of what dawn might bring. Agamemnon laid out the grim truth: losses, low morale, and the threat of annihilation. His voice was heavy, echoing the despair that had settled over the camp. The men listened, knowing that their very survival was at stake. "We stand on a knife's edge," he said. "The Trojans expect to finish us tomorrow. We must act boldly." His words cut through the gloom, stirring a sense of urgency among the leaders. The fate of thousands rested on their next move. Silence followed, broken only by the crackle of the fire and the distant sounds of the restless camp. Then Nestor's steady voice rose above the hush, bringing a sense of calm and wisdom to the troubled gathering. "We are fighting blind. We need knowledge. Trojan plans, their camp, their sentries. I propose a daring mission. Send 2 men to spy on the enemy tonight." His suggestion was bold, the kind of risk that could change the course of the war. The idea was dangerous, but no one dismissed it. Each man understood the necessity, even as they weighed the peril. The silence that followed was filled with unspoken fears and the knowledge that failure could mean disaster. Nestor continued, "Such a deed would win eternal glory and great reward, but the risk is total. Who will dare?" His words were both a challenge and an invitation, calling forth the courage that had brought them this far. The challenge hung in the air, the leaders' faces set with resolve. Each man looked to his companions, searching for the spark of bravery that would inspire action. They knew knowledge was their only hope. Without it, they would be lost in the darkness, outmaneuvered by their enemies. The need for information was as urgent as the need for food or rest. The council waited, the weight of the decision pressing on them all. Every heartbeat seemed to echo the uncertainty of the moment, as if time itself had paused to witness their choice. Someone would have to step forward. The silence grew heavier, anticipation building as the leaders glanced at one another, wondering who would be the first to accept the perilous task. The fate of the army depended on courage and cunning. In that moment, the destiny of every Greek at Troy seemed to rest on a single brave decision. The silence was a test, a measure of their resolve and a prelude to the daring act that would shape the night and the days to come. Nestor's challenge echoed. The leaders hesitated, not from fear but from the gravity of the task. Then Diomedes stepped forward, his resolve clear. "I will go. But this mission needs 2. Let me choose my companion." Agamemnon agreed. "Choose any among us." Warriors volunteered. Ajax, Menelaus, others. But Diomedes' eyes settled on Ulysses, the master of cunning. "If I am to choose, I choose Ulysses. His mind is our best weapon." The council approved. Muscle and mind would go together. The spirit of the Greeks stirred anew. Diomedes and Ulysses would risk everything for the army. The mission was set. 2 heroes, 1 goal to steal the enemy's secrets. The night's outcome would hinge on their courage. The council dispersed, hope flickering in the darkness. The Greeks would not go quietly. Meanwhile, inside Troy, the mood was triumphant. Soldiers celebrated, but Hector was already planning the next attack. "We have the Greeks pinned," Hector told his captains. "But I need to know their plans. Who will spy for us?" The reward? Achilles' horses and chariot. Silence. The risk was obvious. Then Dolon, greedy and ambitious, stepped forward. "I will go, but swear the prize is mine." Hector agreed, eager for information. Dolon, wrapped in a wolfskin cloak, set out into the night, dreaming of glory. He was no hero, but he was fast and desperate for reward. The Trojans watched him vanish into the darkness. Their hopes for victory now rested on a single nervous spy. The night was alive with danger. 2 sides, 2 missions, 1 deadly plane between them. Fate was moving swiftly. Ulysses and Diomedes slipped through the darkness, silent and alert. The battlefield was a graveyard. Shields, bodies, the stench of war. Suddenly, Ulysses halted Diomedes. Footsteps approached from Troy. They hid, watching as Dolon, cloaked and anxious, hurried past. Ulysses whispered, "Let him pass, then we chase. We need him alive." As Dolon scurried by, the Greeks sprang from hiding and gave chase. Dolon, terrified, ran for his life, but he was no match for heroes. Diomedes called out, "Stop or die!" Dolon stumbled to a halt, trembling, caught between fear and hope. The hunters had their prey. The night's secrets were about to be revealed. Dolon, shaking with terror, begged for his life, promising ransom and riches. Ulysses, calm and cold, demanded answers. "Why are you here? Who sent you?" Dolon confessed everything: Hector's promise, the plan to spy, the Trojans' positions. He revealed the location of the new Thracian allies, unguarded, exhausted, with magnificent horses. "Their king, Rhesus, has horses whiter than snow, faster than the wind," Dolon whispered. Ulysses and Diomedes listened, realizing the value of this information. Dolon, desperate, hoped his honesty would save him, but the Greeks knew he could not be allowed to warn the Trojans. The fate of the night and the war had shifted. The Greeks had what they needed. Dolon's usefulness was at an end. The next move would be swift and silent. With Dolon silenced, Ulysses and Diomedes crept toward the Thracian camp. The Thracians slept deeply, no guards in sight. Ulysses untied the prized white horses, working quickly and quietly. Diomedes, sword drawn, ensured no one would raise the alarm. He dispatched 12 Thracians and their king, Rhesus, in their sleep. The raid was swift, silent, and brutal. With the horses freed, Ulysses signaled the escape. The two heroes mounted up, driving the prize before them. Behind them, the camp lay in deadly silence. They had stolen victory from the jaws of the enemy. The Greeks would wake to hope, the Trojans to confusion and loss. The night belonged to the daring. As dawn broke, Ulysses and Diomedes returned, driving the white horses before them. Athena had guided them, warning Diomedes not to linger for more spoils. The Greek camp erupted in cheers at their return. Nestor greeted them, marveling at the prize. "You have brought us hope." The story of their raid spread quickly, lifting spirits and restoring confidence. The intelligence from Dolon allowed the Greeks to prepare for Hector's attack. The Trojans, shaken and divided, lost their sense of invincibility. The daring of two heroes had changed the war's course. Teamwork and cunning had triumphed over despair. The Greeks were ready to fight on, emboldened by the night's victory. The siege of Troy would continue, with new hope